Shalom, shalom, mishpacha, and Shabbat shalom to those who are in places in the world that still has sunlight and enjoying the close of the Shabbat. As you can see, the sun has gone down here in Tallahassee, and I wanted to come before you today a little later than planned, but here nonetheless, to bring you a reading of the Sefer of Ruth, the book of Ruth, as we're preparing our hearts and our minds to get ready to enter into the feast of Pesach, or Passover, on April 13th, the evening of April 13th, which is Wednesday. And I know typically Ruth is not read in preparation of Passover or during the month of Abib, but I'm not sure why they save it for Shavuot, but I wanted to bring it to you during this time because there's some considerations regarding the timing, the setting, and the message in the book of Ruth. And for starters, it takes place in the month of Abib during the barley harvest, and so it is relevant. And as you know, Ruth outlines the story regarding the kinsman redeemer. And as we are preparing for our Redeemer, Mashiach Yahushua, I wanted to consider Ruth as we get ready to enter in. So I'll go ahead and start with reading chapter 1. And as you know, there's only 4 chapters in Ruth. I'm reading from the scriptures I'm reading from the ISR 1998, from the scriptures of from the Institute of Scripture Research 1998 version. But you can follow along in whatever version you have. And I'll go ahead and get started. And it came to be in the days when the rulers ruled that there was a scarcity of food in the land. And a man from Bethlehem, Yehuda, or Bethlehem of Judah, or Judea, went to sojourn in the fields of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. Backing up, I'm going to start from verse 1 again, chapter 1, verse 1. And it came to be in the days when the rulers ruled that there was a scarcity of food in the land. And a man from Bethlehem of Yehuda, or Judea, went to sojourn in the fields of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Machlon and Kilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Yehuda. And they went to the fields of Moab and came to be there. So let's back up for a second. So there was a man from Bethlehem of Judea, or Bethlehem, which means house of bread, from Yehuda, which means praise to Yah, who went to sojourn, or went to dwell in the lands of Moab. And the name of the man was Elimelech. Elimelech means, my God is king. Eli Malach. Elimelech, my God is king. From the house of bread, from the place of praise. I want you to hold on to that. And his wife was Naomi. And they had 2 sons. Their 2 sons were Machlon and Kilion, who were Ephrathites. And verse 3, and Elimelech, husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. And they took wives of the women of Moab. The name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. So these 2 Judean men, these 2 Yahudim, married wives who were Moabites. They married Moabite women. And as we know through our history, Moab was a descendant of Lot. So when Lot was taken out of Sodom and Gomorrah with his 2 daughters and his wife, and we're told constantly in Scripture to remember Lot's wife. When Lot was removed supernaturally by the Melachim out of Sodom and Gomorrah, outside the gates of the city. He and his 2 daughters remained. And his 2 daughters, thinking that the world was ending and that they were the last alive, got their father drunk and laid with their father, and then they conceived of their father's seed. And one of those children was called Moab. So that line was basically rejected. And so here we are with this man who has gone into the land of Moab. This man has gone basically into an unclean land. And he was from Bethlehem or Beit Lechem. He's from the house of bread. He's from the line of praise. He's from the people of praise, the Yahudi. And his name means my God is king. And he dwells there, and his sons go against the law, and they take 2 Moabites to be their wives. One wife was Ruth, and the other wife was Orpah. Picking up from verse 5. After living there for about 10 years, that's how long they were there. Picking up verse 5, and Machlon and Kilion also died, both of them. So the woman was bereaved, the woman, Naomi, was bereaved of her 2 sons and her husband. And she rose up with her daughters-in-law and returned from the fields of Moab, for she had heard in the fields of Moab that Yahweh had visited his people in giving them bread. And she left the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Yehudah. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house. Yahweh show kindness to you, as you have shown to the dead and to me. Yahweh grant that you find rest, each in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, No, we shall go back with you to your people. And they said to her, No, we shall go back with you to your people. But Naomi said, Go back, my daughters. Why go with me? Have I still sons in my womb, that they should become your husbands? Go back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have expectancy, even if I should have a husband tonight, and should also bear sons. So she's telling them basically to go home, for them to go, because they're still young enough to be remarried, to have husbands, and to go and have a portion. Where her being an old woman, she's not going to bear any more sons, so there's not going to be a redeemer from her womb to raise up seed to her fallen sons, or to take as a wife her 2 daughters-in-law. And that she's too old to get a husband, to be married, and so she has no portion. And for them to go and basically secure their daily bread, that's what she's telling them. And they're telling her, no, they're going to go back. They're going to go back with her, and that they're not going to remain there. They're not going to go back to their place where they can go and have a portion, not away from her. Verse 13, would you wait for them? So basically she's saying, I'm going to go back to 12. Go back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have expectancy, even if I should have a husband tonight and should also bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you shut yourselves up not to have a husband? No, my daughters, for it is much more better for me than for you, because the hand of Yahweh has gone out against me. So she's saying that because she's lost her husband and she's lost her 2 sons. And they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, Look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her mighty ones. Go back, follow your sister-in-law. Your sister-in-law Orpah has gone back to her people and to her mighty ones. But Ruth said no. Ruth did not want to follow her sister-in-law as Naomi instructed her. Ruth instead clung to Naomi. And verse 16, but Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or to go back from following after you, for wherever you go, I go. Wherever you stop over, I stop over. Your people is my people, and your Elohim is my Elohim. Where you die, I die, and there I shall be buried. Yahweh do so to me and more also, for death itself parts you and me. And when she saw that she was strengthening herself to go with her, she ceased to speak to her. And both of them went until they came to Beit Lechem. So Ruth clings to Naomi, and she goes back to Naomi's homeland of Beit Lechem with her, instead of staying in the place of her forefathers in the land of Moab, or taking on the mighty ones of the Moabites. Instead, she chooses the Elohim of Naomi. She chooses the Elohim of Yasharal. She chooses the Elohim of praise. She chooses the Elohim from the house of bread to give her her portion. That's what all of that means. In verse 19, and both of them went until they came to Beit Lechem. And it came to be when they had come to Beit Lechem that all the city was moved because of them. And they said, is this Naomi? And she said to them, do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. And Mara means bitter. It means weeping. It means tears. It means bitterness. I went out filled, and Yahweh has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since Yahweh has witnessed against me, and the Almighty has done evil to me? Thus Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the fields of Moab. And they came to Beit Lechem at the beginning of the barley harvest. So the setting here is the beginning of the barley harvest, where they made a choice, where Ruth made a choice as to whom it would be that she would serve, as to whom it would be that she would look to for her portion, as to whom it would be that she would choose as her source for her daily bread. Chapter 2. And Naomi had relatives on her husband's side, a man of great wealth of the clan of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, please let me go to the field and glean heads of grain after him, in whose eyes I find favor. So she said to her, go, my daughter. And she left and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. As it turned out, she came to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, the near relative of Elimelech. And see, Boaz had come from Beit Lechem and said to the reapers, Yahweh be with you. And they answered him, Yahweh barak you, bless you. And Boaz said to his servant, who was appointed over the reapers, whose young woman is this? So the servant who was appointed over the reapers answered and said, it is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the fields of Moab. And she said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the reapers. And they came and remained from morning until now. She sat a little in the house. And Boaz said to Ruth, you have heard, have you not, my daughter? You have heard, have you not, my daughter? Do not go to glean in another field, nor go from here, but stay close to my young women. Let your eyes be on the field which they reap, and you shall go after them. Have I not commanded the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink from what the young men have drawn. So he's giving her grain for her daily bread, and he's giving her water for her thirst. He's giving her living water and living bread. And she fell on her face, bowed down to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, seeing I am a foreigner? And Boaz answered and said to her, I have been told all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth, and have come to a people whom you did not know before. Strong similarity here as what we see with the Mitzrites, with the Egyptians, those that chose to leave what they knew and follow Moses into going out of Egypt, because they chose the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. They chose the Elohim of Moshe, to be their Elohim over the gods of Egypt. So Ruth has chosen Naomi's God, Naomi's mighty one, over the mighty ones of Moab. And she's choosing to trust him to give a portion to her. And the portion is coming from the line of Elimelech. My God is king. My mighty one is king. My Elohim is king. Verse 11 again. And Boaz answered and said to her, I have been told all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth, and have come to a people whom you did not know before. Yahweh repay your work, and your reward is complete from Yahweh, Elohim of Yasharal, under whose wings you have come to seek refuge. And she said, let me find favor in your eyes, my master, because you have comforted me, and have spoken to me, and have spoken to the heart of your female servant, though I am not like one of your female servants. He speaks softly to her. He's not harsh to her. He's kind and compassionate to her. Very similar to how Yahweh woos the woman in the wilderness in the book of Hosea. Remember, Yahweh says we're to be kind to the foreigner and to the stranger among us, because we could be entertaining angels unaware, and also because we were once foreigners in a strange land when we dwelt in Mitzrayim. We're to be kind to them. We're to be compassionate to them. We are to be Yahweh's love letters to them. And verse 14, and Boaz said to her, come here at mealtime, then you shall eat of the bread, and dip your piece of bread in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he passed roasted grain to her. And she ate and was satisfied, and had left over. He passed roasted grain to her. So the barley was in the head. The barley was Abib. It was the time of the barley harvest. Remember, we read that in chapter 1, verse 22. Verse 15, and she rose up to glean, and Boaz commanded his young man, saying, let her, excuse me, it's bugs out here, sorry. I get distracted. Backing up, verse 15. And she rose up to glean, and Boaz commanded his young man, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and do not embarrass her. Rather draw out from the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean, and do not restrain her. And she gleaned in the field until evening, and beat out that which had been gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. And she brought out and gave to her what she had left over, after she was satisfied. Then her mother-in-law asked her, where have you gleaned today? Where did you work? Blessed be the one who took notice of you. And she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked, and said, the name of the man I worked with today is Boaz. And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of Yahuwah, who has not forsaken his kindness to the living and the dead. And Naomi said to her, the man is a relative of ours, one of our redeemers. And Ruth the Moabitess said, he also said to me, stay close to my young people until they have completed all my harvest. And Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women, and that they do not meet you in any other field. And she stayed close by the young women of Boaz to glean, till the completion of the barley harvest and wheat harvest, but she dwelt with her mother-in-law. Chapter 3. And Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, my daughter, should I not seek rest for you, so that it is well with you? And now is not Boaz, whose young women who have been our relative? See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. He is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor, meaning he is separating the wheat, or the barley from the chaff, the usable portion from the unusable portion, which is what the Redeemer does. What the Redeemer does in this season, in the season that we are told to become unleavened. They are preparing the grain. They are preparing the grain to have usable grain, living bread. Backing up to verse 3. And you shall bathe and anoint yourself and put your garments on and go down to the threshing floor. Do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. So she's to bathe and then go down to the threshing floor. That's reminding me of Hadassah, when Hadassah had her preparations before going in before the king. She went through her womanly preparations and then she went in before the king to make her request known. Very similar here, so we have themes. So once again, she told her to go and bathe and anoint herself. It's exactly what Hadassah did. She had myrrh and she had aloes. Hadassah did, or Esther. Ruth bathes and she anoints herself. She put on her garments and she went down to the threshing floor. She was told, do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. And it shall be when he lies down that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in and uncover his feet and lie down, and let him make known to you what you should do. And she said to her, all that you say to me, I do. So Ruth was obedient to what the older woman, Naomi, told her. And as we know, it is our practice that the older women should teach the younger. And so she obeys. She obeys, and it goes well for her. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Verse 6, and she went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law instructed her. And Boaz ate and drank, and his heart was glad. And he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly, feminine, softly, and uncovered his feet and lay down. And it came to be at midnight that the man was startled and turned himself and saw a woman lying at his feet. And he said, who are you? And she answered, I am Ruth, your female servant. Now you shall spread your covering over your female servant, for you are a redeemer. You shall spread your covering over your female servant, for you are a redeemer. So we see her asking him to take her inside the veil, or underneath the chuppah, or into the inner space where Yahuwah draws us in as a husband to a bride, to a wife, a bride prepared, a bride prepared. Remember, she bathed and she anointed herself and she put on her garments. She went in prepared. We don't go into the wedding supper or the wedding feast or to meet our husband unprepared or without proper garments or without a proper attitude of anua, of meekness, of anua, of meekness, of humility. She sat at his feet. She lay down at his feet and showed herself softly to him to wait to see what he would do as a redeemer. We lie down at Mashiach's feet and anointed his feet with oil and washed his feet with our tears and dried them with our hair. We come meekly to our kinsman redeemer and we wait to see what he would have us to do. This is the posture that we take in this season of the barley, the beginning of the barley harvest. Because we know that Mashiach is preparing a body for himself, a body of living bread, of living stones, a bride without spot or blemish, covered with the garments that he has given us, dipped in the vesture of blood, washed in his blood, filled with living fountains and streams of living water that we receive from him, our Ish, Yahuwah El Shaddai, King of Kings, Melech HaMelechim, Halal Yahuwah. This we see foreshadowed here in the story of Ruth and Boaz. And picking up at verse 11. No, hang on. I'm at verse 9, forgive me. And he said, who are you? And she answered, I am Ruth, your female servant. Now you shall spread your covering over your female servant, for you are a redeemer. And he said, blessed are you of Yahuwah, my daughter, for you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, not to go after young men, whether poor or rich. Check that out. You have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, not to go after young men. She's not pursuing young men. She's pursuing righteousness, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear all that you say I do for you. For all the people of my town know that you are a capable woman. She is a capable and virtuous woman. Although she is a widow, she is not despised. She is valued. She is dealt with kindly and softly. She is a capable, virtuous woman of value. And he recognizes that in her. She is of good reputation. She is a desirable woman because of her ruach, because of her spirit, and her spirit of meekness and obedience. And now it is true that I am your Redeemer. However, there is a Redeemer nearer than I. Stop over tonight, and in the morning it shall be that if he does not, stop over tonight, and in the morning it shall be that if he does redeem you, good, let him do it. But if he is not pleased to redeem you, then I shall redeem you, as Yahuwah lives. Lie down until morning. Yahai. So he's saying there is a Redeemer nearer than him. So he needs to follow order first. And he will do that by morning. And if that Redeemer does not desire to fulfill that role for her, then he will do it. So everything is being done according to Torah, according to the instructions. Verse 14, and she shall lay at his feet until morning, and she arose before one could recognize another. And he said, let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. Because he doesn't want even the appearance of evil. He didn't go into her that night. They're following decency and order. She was able to rest at his feet and to be covered in kindness and compassion. He did not take advantage of her, nor did he allow an evil word to be spoken of her when she left. This is the spirit of a man of Yehuda towards the daughters of Yehuda. Verse 15, and he said, bring the shawl that is on you and hold it. So she held it, and he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her, and she went into the city. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, is that you, my daughter? And she explained to her all the man had done for her. And she said, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said to me, do not go empty-handed to your mother-in-law. And she said, wait, my daughter, until you know how the matter falls, for the man is not going to rest until he has completed the matter this day. So he did not wait. He made haste to deliver her. And Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there, and see, the Redeemer of whom Boaz had spoken came by. And Boaz said, turn aside, so-and-so, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit down here. So they sat down. So Boaz had a council with the men, with the elders, doing things in decency and in order. And he said to the Redeemer, Naomi, who has come back from the fields of Moab, sold the piece of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. And I thought that I should disclose it to you, saying, buy it back in the presence of the inhabitants and the elders of my people. If you do redeem it, redeem it. But if you do not redeem it, inform me so that I know. For there is no one but you to redeem it, and I am next after you. And he said, I redeem it. And Boaz said, on the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you shall also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead on his inheritance. And the Redeemer said, I am not able to redeem it for myself, lest I ruin my own inheritance. Redeem my right of redemption for yourself, for I am not able to redeem it. And this was formally done in Yasharal concerning redeeming and exchanging. To confirm every word, one man took off his sandal and gave it to the other, and this was a witness in Yasharal. It also happened in the council of witnesses. So understand that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word is established. There was no private interpretation. This was done openly and in decency and order amongst the elders and the council of men. Verse 8, so the Redeemer said to Boaz, buy it for yourself. Then he took off his sandal. And Boaz said to the elders and to all the people, you are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's and all that was Kilion's and Machlon's from the hand of Naomi. And also Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Machlon, I have acquired as my wife to raise up the name of the dead on his inheritance, so that the name of the dead should not be cut off from among his brothers and from the gate of his place. You are witnesses today. And all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, witnesses. Yahuwah, make the woman who is coming to your house as Rachel and as Leah. Make her like our foremothers, the wives of Yaakov. Make her like Rachel and Leah, Rachel and Leah, the two who built the house of Yasharal, and prove your worth in Ephrata, and proclaim the name of Beit Lechem. Beit Lechem of Ephrata is not small, remember? Remember? For out of Beit Lechem of Ephrata comes our Redeemer, Messiah Yahushua. And let your house be like the house of Peretz, whom Tamar bore to Yehuda, of the seed which Yahuwah gave, which Yahuwah does give you from this young woman. And Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and he went into her. Now he goes into her. After the process, not the same night that she came and laid at his feet. After the process of him redeeming her rightfully so, he then takes her to wife, and then he goes into her, and she becomes his woman, his wife. So don't let anyone rush you. Yasharal does have a betrothal process. It has a process for the men and the women to come together in decency and in order. Don't let someone give you a false word to make haste to do something that is outside of Yahuwah's order for you, or to make you feel that you are less than valuable as a woman of Yah. Yahuwah's daughters are not to be treated as some type of undervalued vessels. We are enough, and we have a portion in him, and he is our Redeemer, and he does have righteous men of Yah who are there as a proper head and covering for those daughters who need a proper head and covering at any age. You see, because of the posture of Boaz and the humility, the meekness that that his character espoused, not only was he a covering for Ruth, but also a covering for Naomi, because Ruth refused to leave Naomi, so they both ended up with a righteous portion in the land of their fathers, specifically. So, backing up to verse 12, and let your house be like the house of Peretz, whom Tamar bore to Yehuda, of the seed which Yahuwah does give you from this young woman. And Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and he went into her, and Yahuwah granted her conception, and she bore a son. And the woman said to Naomi, blessed be Yahuwah, who has not left you this day without a redeemer, and let his name be proclaimed in Yasharal, and he shall be to you a restorer of life, and a sustainer of your old age, for your daughter-in-law who loves you, who is better to you than 7 sons, has borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid him on her bosom, and became a nurse to him. And the women, her neighbors, gave him a name, saying, there is none born to Naomi. There is a son born to Naomi. There is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. And he was the father of Yeshai, father of Jesse, father of Yeshai, father of David, the king. And this is the genealogy of Peretz. Peretz brought forth Ketzron, And Ketron brought forth Ram, and Ram brought forth Aminadab, and Aminadab brought forth Nakshan. Remember Nakshan, the first to go into the water during the time when they left Mitzrayim, and Yahuwah right before the seas were parted, before the waters were parted. Nakshan, knowing that Yahuwah would do something to deliver them, had the faith to enter down into the water, even up to his neck before the waters parted. And so he was always first to bring his portion. That is the lineage we have here. Nakshan, and Nakshan brought forth Salmon, and Salmon brought forth Boaz, and Boaz brought forth Obed, and Obed brought forth Yishai, Jesse, and Yishai brought forth David, Dude. And that is our portion from our foremother, Ruth, who was a Moabitess, who was grafted into the lineage of Yasharal, counted amongst the commonwealth of Yasharal, the nation, no longer a foreigner, but as a native born, who is the grandmother, the great-grandmother of our king, David, who is the lineage of Messiah ben David, ben Dude, ben Daud, king of Yasharal, lion of the tribe of Yehuda, living bread from Bethlehem, the giant from Ephrata, not small but large, our kinsman redeemer, the Lamb of Yah who takes away the sins of the world, who has prepared for us our daily bread, our portion, starting in the month of Abib. I hope that this reading was a blessing to you, was a baracha to you and your hearing, your heart, that it helps you to understand your place and your portion as a daughter of Yah, as a man of Yah, as a member of the body of the nation of Yasharal, be you once a foreigner, once a Gentile, now also considered as native born, grafted into the olive tree, along with the natural branches, that you have a portion, and that portion starts with compassion and obedience and humility. And so we thank Abba Yah for the reading of his word. We thank you for his living Torah, and we thank you for his Ruach, which fulfills our all in all, giving us those 9 fruits that result in us having the discipline to become his taught ones. So let us be trained, and let us keep the word in context, line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, so that we are approved of him and able to rightly share the word in its context for the hearing, the building of the hearing, the edifying of the body, where faith is built for us all, for Amunah, for us all. And with that, I'll sign off. Shalom, shalom, and Shabbat Tov.